Brian Koberger, the prime suspect in the University of Idaho stabbing deaths, will be back in court today. His defense team is expected to have a witness testify, but nobody knows who that witness is. Koberger charged with killing 4 college students in November of 2022. Criminal defense attorney Joshua Ritter, also the host of the True Crime Daily Sidebar podcast, is with me now. Good morning to you, Joshua. Is this strange to not know who is going to testify?
Yes, all of this is strange. The way it's come about is completely strange. We had a couple of hearings set for last week. We were told that those were going to be closed door hearings, and we understood what those hearings were regarding. Now, both of those hearings were moved towards the end of the month. They're both now going to be closed hearings. But instead, we have one witness being called tomorrow in regards to those hearings. But because the witness list is undisclosed, we have no idea who this witness is and what they're going to be testifying to. And strangely enough, the judge plans on actually making this part of the hearing, this witness, open. So we'll find out, I suppose, later today.
Yeah, it just seems a little weird. One of those hearings that you mentioned was to rule on a change of venue. I know the family has been pushing for this, but it hasn't happened. It's felt like it's just been delayed, kicked down the road. Does that indicate that something more is going on behind the scenes that we're not being told about?
I don't think so, but the problem with this case is that we're being told just enough to cause confusion and to kind of add some fuel to some of these conspiracy theories. I understand that the judge has a concern about not so much information being released to the public that it somehow taints a potential jury pool. But at the same time, part of the beautiful part of our system is that we have these hearings that are open so people can understand what is taking place. And when you have so many of these hearings closed and you're changing your mind about whether or not they're open or closed, it causes a lot of people to, run rampant with conjecture.
Yeah, and this story already has so much conspiracy, as you mentioned, surrounding it. When the judge says that he's opened this hearing to the public, but he will close it immediately, shutting down the live stream if there is something shared that needs to be sealed, what would determine something that needs to actually privatize this hearing once again?
I think what his biggest concern is one of the things that the defense is asking for is the evidence behind how the FBI arrived at their genetic determination in this case, the investigative genetic material that they used. And that could perhaps involve unrelated people that they were able to track to the relatives of Koberger. And I think he's just concerned about identifying anyone in those reports, making sure that those reports are redacted, and perhaps even keeping the hearing closed until they're able to determine that that information cannot somehow lead to the discovery of people who are uninvolved in this case.
Obviously, Brian Koberger, the prime suspect, the only suspect that we've heard about. If this continues to be delayed in terms of the trial date being set, in terms of these hearings being rescheduled, is the defense essentially using all of this to buy themselves more time?
That's a good question. A lot of people have been making that assumption. It certainly is a strategy, and it works to the defense's benefit. At this point, they're just entirely playing catch up still to try to get a hold of all the information that they have in this case. And so any day that goes by, I think, is a day that they appreciate, and it does not help the prosecution's case. But at the same time, you're dealing with a death penalty case of incredible magnitude and complexity. And I think his attorneys are just saying, listen, we're not going to leave any stone unturned here, and we're going to fight every motion that we can and every opportunity that we can and ask for every piece of evidence that we feel that we're entitled to. And if that happens to drag things out, then that happens to drag things out. I mean, they feel that they are defending someone for their life because he's possibly facing the death penalty in this case.
Yeah.